Is there anybody out there? I'll never forget the sorry day that video found its way to the top of my For You page. It was an unseasonably warm October day, the 21st of the month. While I was on my computer, the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm to be precise, slipped that fateful rounded thumbnail in through the crack in my feed. And ever since then, this case has... Sorry. Hey guys. So it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I found this series in particular so interesting that I just had to get back into it. What series, you may ask? Well... Solving White Pine is a Minecraft Machinima series by Shadowlord762 set in the gritty streets of New York, in which two rival newspapers battle to be the first to solve the riveting mystery of Ivory's White Pine. Our protagonists at the multiversal times racing MPTV to the punch. It's also so underrated it's criminal, with its 3 current episodes only having a few thousand views each, but having some of the best production and cinematography I've ever seen from this medium. In fact, it's so obscure, nobody has ever bothered to make a standalone video about it, so I guess I'll be the first. So back to the story. On the surface, the story of Solving White Pine is simple. It's our two protagonists trying to solve the White Pine mystery. However, if you just take a look between the journalists and the spies and the libraries of cassette tapes, you'll find cracks, breadcrumbs that reveal this reality, while simple in appearance, is collapsing on its seams. It all starts with a gun. Chekhov's gun. Yes, in episode 3, they named a gun store Chekhov's. This quite obviously alludes to the narrative principle of Chekhov's gun, which states that every element of a story, no matter how minute or seemingly irrelevant, must have significance. Now, why don't you keep that in mind while we move on to the bigger picture? Let's start from the beginning. Solving White Pine tells the story of Ben and Sammy, co-workers at the Multiversal Times, and their investigation of White Pine. They steal clues from rival newspaper MPTV and follow the trail to a Minecraft world file. However, after they enter the world through a machine, the Rozzers catch up to their trespassing crimes and shoot the machine. They make it out and they get in trouble. Ben is banned from reporting on White Pine, which sucks because it was the only assignment he was ever interested in. And Sammy is locked up for a few days. Then stuff happens. Independent journalist Mike Freeman offers Ben a partnership. Rival boss man buys a gun, yada yada. Now this is a pretty cool story and all, but most of it isn't actually important for what we're talking about today. I want to focus on one thing, and one incident in particular. In episode 3, Ben makes a startling discovery. The clocks on different floors are wrong. He takes them to his office, fixes them, and puts them back, but before long, they're wrong again. The clocks seem to move at different speeds. And then later, when Mike comes in, he says something that it's not the clocks that are wrong. I mean, let's talk about Mike. Mike is a weird guy, alright? He's crazy about clocks. The guy at the clock store says he's a frequent customer, and who the hell frequents a clock store? And this is proven by his absolutely insane clock collection. This guy clearly knows something about the time, but what? What is it about the time? What does this all mean? The clocks, the time, the times, the multiversal times. Multiversal. The answer was hidden in plain sight the entire time. I believe that the reality of solving White Pine isn't what it seems, but to really prove it, We need to bring out an old friend. Every element of a story is meaningful, and there just so happens to be a series of small, seemingly insignificant oddities Ben notices throughout the series. He notices grass on the 9th floor, looks at the elevator buttons funny, thinks the stairs weren't there before, sees that the clocks are wrong. They all seem just like mistakes or misremembering, but they're all secretly significant more than any interaction in the series. If you look back, Ben doesn't notice these things for no reason. The creator doesn't include these things for no reason. The elevator buttons change from iron bars to a 3D model between episodes. The stairs really weren't there before. They take the place of a blank wall. The clocks are wrong, they always have been from the start. Sammy even mentions it in episode 2. Speaking of Sammy, after the World Loader incident, her therapist says things about her that never even happened. The boss says good afternoon at 9 in the morning, mentions white rose instead of white pine. Ben wasn't looking at the buttons for no reason, or noticing the grass, or forgetting about the stairs. He notes them because the world is inexplicably changing around him. The times, the multiversal times. I believe the world of Solving White Pine is collapsing in on itself, timelines intersecting, boundaries between worlds melting away as the world tumbles and shifts around these humble journalists. Still don't believe me? If even the most insignificant things are meaningful, we need to find some of the most insignificant things. And what's one of the most background aspects of film? The music. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's important to the overall feeling of a scene, but it usually just serves as a sort of background to the more attention-grabbing action. Anyways, let's take a look at it. In episode 2, in the scene where the cops shoot the World Loader, the music that plays is The Anomaly by Daniel Pemberton, which he composed for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, I've never watched this movie and don't know much of the context, but I do know it involves traveling through the multiverse. And do you want to know which scene Mr. Daniel Pemberton's Anomaly song plays in? It plays in the scene where Miles Morales returns to the wrong universe. And where does Spider-Man live? New York. Ben and Sammy never returned home. They were never home in the first place. Their original home warped by the gradual disintegration of reality itself. Shadow Lord 762 is a master of Chekhov's gun. The oddities, the minute changes, even the music, all points to a single conclusion. Solving White Pine was never about dueling newspapers in the heart of Manhattan. It's about a world tearing apart at its seams, its fabric of reality opening into a gaping maw, and our protagonists are falling right in. So now, we've established that the reality of Solving White Pine is falling apart. But why? How'd this happen? Well, I think I have an answer. I think it's a classic example of dystopian corporate greed. You see, when Mike Freeman is talking with Ben, he says something very interesting.
This place is wasting your talent, squandering your potential, stifling your creativity, reaching through time from the future back into the past, and robbing you of all you might yet become.
Mike says, at least this is how I interpret it, that the company is somehow manipulating time to keep Ben a sort of corporate slave. This actually checks out. In a conversation with Sammy in episode 2, Ben cannot name a single thing about himself that is not work-related. The company has stripped their employees of autonomy and personality in pursuit of profit. In fact, in episode 3, for a moment, the boss is genuinely confused about what Ben means by saying he's quitting. I believe that the time-warping shenanigans of some mysterious higher-ups in the multiversal times have come around to bite them, as this continued abuse has caused cracks and fissures to form in the fabric of reality itself, slowly crumbling in on itself and dragging everything with it until the world is consumed. But hey, that's just a theory, a game film theory. But anyways, the mystery isn't exactly over. There's still unanswered questions like, who are these mysterious gunmen at the end of episode 3, and what even are the true implications of this crumbling reality? Well, I suppose that's a mystery for another time. I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. This has been Old G7, and thank you for watching.